All right, here we go. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the 24 Down podcast. Can you believe it? We are 9 episodes in already. This podcast is taken off more than I imagined. I'm really happy about it. I know we've got at least 5 or 6 guests that are kind of on deck right now, so there's quite a few episodes coming up, but today's going to be a pretty special episode. We've got a guest that I spent a good chunk of my first few years at Valley Forge hanging out with.
Yeah.
I've also got Francis in here. He's going to be co-hosting with me. So Francis and I would like to welcome Junior to the 24 Down podcast.
What's going on, fellas? Man, I miss you guys, man. You guys look good, sexy.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
All right, I'm just saying, you really aren't that sexy, but Francis has a nice little bun on his beard. I told him I was trying to grow my beard just like his.
You're getting some length on there. It's looking pretty good.
I mean, I'm not at that bun stage. Look at my little bun. It's very tiny. I can't bake a bun.
So, it's first question: who's more attractive, you or your brother?
But yeah, man, I'm excited to be here, bro.
Uh-oh. Junior's frozen.
Brother.
There he is. All right. What'd you say, Juge?
I don't know. What is it? Oh, I said I don't have a bun yet.
Oh.
I try to get a bun like Francis, but I'm not at that bun stage yet. But yeah, man, I'm excited, brother. I'm excited to be with both you guys and just talk through and catch up.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna start this podcast just like we've started every other podcast. So we're gonna give Junior the green light to kind of go and talk about what has happened post Valley Forge in his life and what's been going on. So you can catch everybody up. So go ahead, Junior.
Yeah, man. I thought I'd kind of rewind back a little bit more. So instead of starting from after Valley Forge, I thought maybe I'd kind of start back when I started Valley Forge. Not to be a long biography or nothing, but just because there's some stuff I'll tie in later. But yeah, man, I started Valley Forge, VFCC 24 Down in 2006. And Hat and I and then my brother, we started at the same year, man, same semester, right around the same time. And then like Francis or like Hat mentioned, that's how we kind of got connected and we went through classes together and lunch. And so we started doing a lot of things together right off the bat because we were both new. But I think my first year, I was actually rooming with my brother. And then I thought it was like, man, I thought I had room with him a whole year. And like I had room with you the second year. But like I had to go back and put timelines together. I'm like, I don't remember what happened. And brother, I ended up staying with my brother for the first semester, and then I roomed with you the second semester. And then when I was going through the time, I'm like, I only was on the floor full time at Valley Forge for 1 year, which was that 2006 year. I guess 2006 to 2007. Like 2007, 2008, 2009, I graduated in 2010. I was a commuter. And I'm like, what? I could like all the memories I have and all the different things I was putting together. I'm like, I felt like I was there for 4 years, like on the floor with you guys. But yeah, man, funny enough, I was only there for 1 year. And what happened was my family had actually taken a couple of trips down to Florida. I think before I started college, my sister was living down there in Orlando. And when I did I went to VFCC, I was a psych major. And my goal was to try to do something in like counseling, work with that youth risks or at-risk youth. And so that's what I wanted to do. My brother and I both came up from like an urban area, and we were in our youth group a lot, and I think we both just wanted to work with teens. And so I actually ended up, after my first year at Valley Forge, I actually took a trip to Florida, I think with my parents, and with talking with Dr. Caruso, who was one of the psych professors, I actually ended up applying to Southeastern University in Florida. I don't know like how many people knew that or not, but I actually went there. It was like the summer or spring of 2007. And I went and my dad and my mom came with me, and they were starting to make plans to like move down to Florida. And my dad was excited about it. And they had an occupational therapy program at Southeastern University, which was something I really wanted to do. And I'm like, man, it was tough to leave like 24 Down. It was tough to leave like PA because I had never really been anywhere else but PA in New Jersey. And so it was hard to leave, up northeast here. And then But I ended up applying and I got accepted, and I took a trip. I think it was like the summer of 2007. I took a trip down to Florida, and my dad had told me like, hey man, like the cost that it is for room and board, just get an apartment. So this way, when we come visit you guys, we'll come and we'll stay with you guys. We'll hang with you guys. You know, I'll stay with you. I'll visit your sister. So I ended up the day I was going to, my sister and I and her husband, we drove down to south near Southeastern, and I was gonna actually put a deposit down on on the apartment. And on the drive there was actually when we got a call from my brother and my mom in 2007 in the summer that my dad had actually been in a work-related accident, and that they were going to the hospital and everything to see how he's doing. And my sister and I were like, oh my God, he got in that, because he did construction, so it was labor and, you know, all types of things could happen. We heard horror stories in the past, like one of my dad's coworkers in the past was crushed by a truck, like he was, like somebody wasn't paying attention, he got crushed by a truck. And so we knew the dangers of construction and stuff like that. And then, so we thought though he had like broken a leg, broken an arm, whatever, something like that, you know. Never would have thought, man. My brother gave us a call back and said, listen, like, want to let you guys know that Dad was actually a hero. He actually ended up saving someone's life and pushing someone's life out of the way and pushing them out of danger. But unfortunately, he didn't make it. Brother, like when he said those words, like he didn't make it, like I froze. I was in a twilight zone. My sister started freaking out, and we were in a car. It was myself, my sister, her husband, and my little niece, who was like 1 or 2 at the time. She's yelling, and I was in the passenger seat. No, I was driving, and my brother-in-law was in the passenger seat, and she's like pushing him like out of the car, like I need to get out, I need to get out. And we're on a highway he was on speakerphone, and we just like lost it, man. And we had pulled over. My sister and I and my brother-in-law were like on the side of the road, man, like crying on our knees. Like it was like the most bizarre thing. And I'll probably get more about my dad's story like later on in the podcast, but man, it was such a hard time to go through. And that was actually, again, that was in 2007 after my first year of BFCC. And I was excited to go Southeastern and try something different, try new, like go through like occupational therapy. And we went to Florida and had so much fun down there. But then after my dad passed, man, I couldn't do it. And, you know, and I know Kindler had mentioned on his podcast, like I came down back to PA for my dad's funeral. That was like in June. And that's when I actually reconnected with a lot of you guys, because you guys came to my dad's funeral, man. And you guys have no idea how much that helped my brother and I get through that crazy season, man. And with all that said, I went back to Florida and I felt so empty. I couldn't do it. I was like, I'm sorry. I apologized to my sister because I said, man, I want to stay here with you, but I needed to make sure that mom was okay. My brother was still up here, but we had to make sure she was all right. And you know, it was a long marriage for them to go through, and just to lose your wife or your husband like that is, I can't even fathom, man. And so I came back to PA, and then I actually ended up, I don't even know why. I was trying to think why. I think I know why, but I don't know why. But you know, in French, you know, like I ended up, instead of coming back to campus on 2007, I think I might have taken the semester off maybe, but instead of coming back to 2-4 down and living on campus, I ended up getting an apartment anyway. And my dad's job had actually helped us financially with our school, man, with everything that happened. And I actually ended up living in Drexel Hill, which was like 45 minutes away from Phoenixville. And I was like trying to think about like, why did I pick Drexel Hill? Like, why was I so far away? And I could not remember for the life of me. But I'm wondering if it's so after my dad had passed away, I was back here in PA, and it was a tough time to go through. And I actually, when I came back up here, one of the girls that I knew in high school had reached out to me, and we started connecting. And you guys met her, Jen, and stuff. And she was actually a couple years younger than I was. And we actually started talking and kind of started dating. And she kind of like, I thought she was feeling a void, you know, like I felt so lonely. So I instantly like attached myself to her and stuff. And man, I think it was just a few months later, like 3 months later, 4 months, something like that, we got hitched. Like I decided, like, everybody told me, like, don't do it, man. You're going through like a life event. Like, you know, you hear that all the time. They'll make like life decisions when you go through a big storm or something. And it was crazy. It was a rough time, man. Like that relationship, I wouldn't even call it a relationship, that fling or whatever it was, like we were at each other's throats the whole time. We were like, it was a toxic relationship, man. And like everything that like Big Daddy was talking about and Matthias was talking about on their podcast, man, like really resonated with me because, you know, again, a lot of people might not know, but I was in that, I guess, I don't even want to call it marriage, but I was in that relationship for like I think it was a year and a half. And with as much toxic as it was and all the fighting we did, it was like a WWE match, bro. We were like Royal Rumble, like in our apartment, bro. We throw stuff, we would flip the table, like cursing, like like I didn't know who I was. I would like look at the mirror afterwards, and I'm like, who am I, man? And I think I was just dealing with so much with my dad, you know, and stuff that I never got addressed, and it was ugly. Long story short, man, we separated. Couldn't be in that environment anymore, and we actually separated. We got divorced. It was like 2008 or something like that. And you know, and she moved back to my hometown in PA. I stayed up in Drexel Hill. And then my brother, I think, actually started. But anyway, but what Matthias, I want to say, what Matthias and Big Daddy, man, what you guys had mentioned, man. That was a low point in my life. Like my dad, losing my dad was hurtful, man. I was down, but I had a lot of people there to like encourage me and you guys to encourage me and my church family. And I had all the good memories. And my dad was someone who was always positive. So we had so much good memories about him. I was able to go through life and, you know, do what I needed to do. And I would just, so we were able to move forward because of the way that my dad was and who he was and his faith. You know, he used to always say, you can go outside and get hit by a bug. Like he used to always say, you always have to be ready. So we knew my dad and his strong faith, and we know he was in heaven. We know he'll be in heaven. But going through that divorce was probably the biggest, one of the hardest, darkest time of my life. Because like I was so embarrassed, man. I was so ashamed. I felt like I had that stamp on me of like a Christian who got divorced, and you know how that is in the Bible, and you know, and I grew up in the church, and I was involved in the church, and I did worship, and my pastor who I grew up with was the one that did the whole event, and like, you know, it was so embarrassing for me to have to walk through that and go through that. And one of the things that you had talked about with Matthias, man, was when Matthias was talking about his whole thing with Sade and how he felt embarrassed that, you know, like you guys weren't going to want him back or talk to him or kind of, you know, have a space with him or, you know, push him to the side, whatever. Like, I never felt that, man, with 2 4 Down. Like, I felt that with other people and I felt that, but it was like 2 4 Down that like helped me get through that situation, man, because I never felt judged like with my brothers. Like I never had Francis were like one of the fellas that I spent the most time with, Yugi and my brother, and you guys were the ones that helped me get through everything, man. Like, and I can't thank you guys enough for that because like it was dark, man. Like I remember my brother coming once, like he actually stayed with me after I separated with this girl. He and Amber actually stayed with me because he had started at Church of the Savior, and he was actually going to start his youth ministry at Church of the Savior. And they stayed with me for a couple months, and they helped me like move forward. And then they actually got a place in KOP. And while I was at Drexel Hill, when they left, like I kind of like got lonely again. And I remember like I'm a kind of a clean person. Like if you walk through my house, like my shirts are organized, my shoes are organized, like everything's clean, bathrooms are clean. Like I'm kind of a clean freak. But like I got so messy. I was like I don't know if you remember how first, like when you came into Drexel Hill, there was a little like a workout complex, and there was a little Chinese restaurant. I don't know if you remember that. But like I was working at Chipotle at the time when like I was living in Drexel Hill, so I got this big belly here. Was that? But I started eating at Chipotle. But every time I would come home, I'd stop at that Chinese place and I would eat Chinese food like every single day, bro. And then like, but I was like starting to leave my containers out, and I was getting I was like a hoarder, man. The way like, and I had one of those doors in my apartment where people would throw the mail in, and I would never pick up my mail. I need the magazines. I would step right over it. And I remember my brother, because he had stayed with me but then moved out, he had a key to my apartment. And this son of a gun, like one day when I was home, like just surprised me out of nowhere. And I remember like sitting there with like the door and like thinking like I have a freaking intruder in my house, like I'm about to die, and like getting something to get ready to like go to Rumble, man. But it was my brother, and he actually like saw the mess, and like I remember Amber telling me a couple of years after, he said, you know, after he left, he like sat in the car and cried, like because he knew that I was so down, man. And months later, they actually asked me to come move with them in KOP, and I couldn't leave because I think I had the lease or something in the apartment. I finally was able to move with them, and so they got me through that rough time too, man, living with them in KOP. So I can't thank them enough for getting me through that. What was I saying? So I guess afterwards, so like at 2010 was when I graduated. I did my and so that's what I did afterwards. I actually worked with their charter school in Philadelphia for a while. And then, like, long story short, man, I worked at Matham House too. After a couple of years, I moved on to Matham House. And I actually worked like kind of with Matthias. It was a detention center, but it was a detention center with teenagers that were male sex offenders. And they had like sex offenders, like, man, these were some kids who had some problems, man. They like offenders against their like younger sisters and their family members. But I ended up doing like Bible studies there, and I had a counseling position there that I was helping them go through the grieving stage and helping the families. And but it was tough because it was like overnight stuff. And so that was kind of hard to be overnight. It was like 45 minutes. I would do overnight a lot of times too, sometimes because it was a detention center. And like I would wake up the next morning stuck in traffic. I was like half asleep, like falling asleep in traffic, like about to get in an accident. And then I ended up, we were at like Chester Springs church, and someone at that church was like, hey, why don't you come work for me? I'm a manager at a like optician at an optical place. And I'm like, I had never wore glasses in my life. I had no idea about like glasses or anything, but I'm like, hey, let's do it. And so I started doing that for a little bit. But it was like all salesy though. Like I never knew how much like it was all sales and how much glasses, like one pair of freaking glasses cost like $300-400. It's crazy. So I was like, man, this is an injustice. And plus I was like all commission. And I'm like, this is great. You need Jesus, bro. I don't know, you go to a Christian church, you're selling $400 glasses. So I was like, you need Jesus. But yeah, so I only did that for a little bit, man. But Tanzan was cool. His name was Tanzan, like Tarzan, but it was like Tanzan. But I love that dude, but I had to get out of there because it was like commission and I was making like no money. And then I actually ended up, I think in 2000, and when was it? I think it was in like 2013 or something was when, or 2010. I actually met Sandra. So Sandra, my wife, said like, that's when I met Sandra. And Sandra actually went to Valley Forge Christian College, but I didn't know her at the campus. Like we actually had mutual friends afterwards that we got connected through and everything. And she, man, her started dating her, man, and she was absolutely the love of my life. Man, she got me through situation. I knew I wasn't going to get into a deep relationship or married, you know, through everything that I went through. And at that time, she actually ended up, she was living in New Jersey. I was living in PA. She applied for a job at Valley Forge Christian College. And she actually, she started working at financial aid office and she loved it, man. She did a great job. And then we started dating and we got married in like 2013. Man, and it's been a blessing ever since. We have 2 kids. We have little Isabella, who's 3 years old. Hat met her, Uncle Hat. Francis, you didn't meet her yet, right?
I met Mike's kids, like Josh's coronation.
My kids are way better than this. So much well behaved, better looking, everything. But yeah, man, so we have one Isabella who's 3 years old. And then we have Lucy, who's how old is she? She's 1 year old. Yeah, so, and yeah, we went through a couple miscarriages too, man, throughout the, you know, before Isabella and before Luciana, which was crazy. And that we got through, and now I'm working in 2013, I started working at Allmac which is a pharmaceutical company. We do like clinical trials and things like that. And it's not something I really enjoyed, but it's like a corporate job that actually finally gave me like the salary I needed to like provide for my family. So I've been there since 2013. I've been there like 7 years, and I'm there now, man. And so that's what I've been doing. Sandra, throughout the years, we've been involved in some ministry and like worship and youth ministry, but we were never like actual youth pastors, anything like that. But we just volunteered and supported wherever we could. But yeah, man, now I'm living in New Jersey. That was like in 2016, we actually moved to New Jersey. We're like 20 minutes from the beach, like Belmar Beach, and 30 minutes from Point Pleasant. And then, but yeah, and so now we've been just remodeling this house. Like Majeski says, he's little by little trying to go through his house. The same thing. I'm 4 years into this house project, and I finally am like 90% done with the upstairs after 4 years. Like upstairs only. And this house has like, if you would see, man, it has popcorn ceiling everywhere. Every single inch of this house is popcorn ceiling. I will buy a house that foundation is falling as long as it doesn't have popcorn ceiling. Like it's such a hassle to scrape that thing, man. But we did the same thing like Majeska was talking. Like we ripped the carpets out, we put new hardwood floors down, we scraped popcorn ceiling, we painted, like we modeled everything, man. And finally we're almost getting to the downstairs finally, but it's been a long road. But yeah, man, so kind of little, because like high summary, kind of not really high, that was like 30 minutes, no. But like a summary of like what we've been through, man. But yeah, so that's the life of Roberto Jr. Vieira, brother.
Nice. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. You brought up so many things, and there was a lot of things that I could definitely touch on, and I'm sure there's things that Francis wants to touch on as well. But before I touch on anything else, there's one thing I definitely want to say, and I know that your kids may listen to this, so I'm going to do something for them in this case. But man, I love you, brother.
Wait, what did you say? Wait, I heard the beat part, but I forgot that I didn't hear the part after.
Oh, I said I love you, brother.
Oh, bro,
like
that's a freaking awesome button.
So I mean, dude, that is such a powerful story, and I don't know if it's because of like maybe I feel more powerful because like you and I are so connected and like we were so close, but I don't think so. I think it just is a super powerful story, man, and I can't tell you how proud I am of you for where you are today and how far along you've come. One thing off the top of my head, just a little funny thought that I thought of when you talked about how clean you are, and I mean I remember that. I have no idea how you lived with me for a semester. But another thing I wanted to talk about too, and I won't go too long because I want Francis to go ahead and give his thoughts too, was two different connections that I wanted to bring up. Because like you said, you were only on campus for a semester or for a year.
Yeah,
like in the grand scheme of things, that's not that long. But dude, like I was so connected to you, and in that 1 year period, like, I mean, I lived with Ryan Frizzell my first semester, and I don't remember exactly what happened. Like, it wasn't like a bad thing, but I think like we just kind of wanted to switch things up. And I don't remember who Mike, your brother, I don't remember who he went to live with. I think he actually went to live with Ryan. I think we just switched.
It might have been, yeah, because I don't think he was doing the apartment with Francis or anything, or that.
I do remember living with Mike at one point for a semester or two, maybe, but I don't remember.
That was near the end because I lived with you guys too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that first year, I think all we did was we just switched me and Mike. So Mike lived with Ryan and I lived with you. But literally, so it was 1 year, and the connection that we had in that short amount of time, it's still like, I mean, I consider you one of my absolute best friends that I've ever had in my entire life. Like, hands down, you know? But the other connection, and this is crazy too, is like I felt like when your dad passed away, man, like that hit me hard too. Obviously nowhere near as much as it hit you and your brother. Like I had met him at that point. Like I'd met him a few times. I
Right.
can't recall how many times, but like that's powerful too. That I only met him a few times. Maybe 5-6 times throughout a year, whatever it was. It could have been more. Who knows? But it was like, man, like that hit, and it shows the character of your dad. That. So that's like you and I, like how close we are.
Yeah.
And I know, like, I don't mean this in any negative way, but like not everybody on the floor was as close as you and I were. There were some people that were as close as you and I were, but not everybody.
Right.
But again, like how many people came to your dad's funeral shows again, like how awesome of a guy he is, or he was. I mean, I can't say enough good things about your dad. Like
Thanks,
he had a huge impact on my life. Just the brief little, time that I knew him.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. And it's your family. It's your family as a whole. I mean,
Yeah, man.
because Mike's the same way. Like I've talked on this podcast before, when I got to Valley Forge, I came a little bit early because I think you had to be there that Monday.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get there. So I think I showed up. I don't remember if it was a Friday night or Saturday before that Monday. Maybe it was even Tuesday that you had to show, whatever. It was a few days before I had to be there, but I was like antsy and I was like, oh, I want to go. Literally, I walk in, Donovan was our ARA and he came and greeted me because he knew that I was coming at that time or whatever. And I'm pretty sure that the only people on the floor at the time were me, you, Mike, and Donovan, and that was it.
I
And
remember that.
so like we were thrown into like, hey, because you guys, it was your first year, like you said, and we were thrown into this like, hey, we're all new, but like it wasn't the fact that we were all new. Like there was something special, and we just clicked,
Yeah, man.
and it lasted. And you and I, we had a little FaceTime or whatever a few months ago, just catching up and stuff like that, man. And I could say the same about you and your brother. Like it doesn't matter if I don't talk to you guys for a month or 6 years or however long. Like your guys' bond is so strong to this date, no matter how much time has passed. And I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was important to share the connection between us and the connection between you and your dad. I'm just rambling on now, so I'll let Francis, or you can respond to that, and then we'll let Francis go too.
No, I'll tell you just one quick thing, but like, yeah, man, you guys are definitely my brother. I mean, we always considered had our triplet, and we put Francis and Yugi in there. What are you quintuplets? I don't even know what they're like, man, you guys, you were in my wedding. Pat was in my wedding. Francis was in my wedding. Yugi, I love you. I do. I really do love you, Yugi. And you can get them that with. I do love you. Even Tim Sarazen, because even when I was at Binksville after Valley Forge, I actually hung out with Tim a lot. And I got really close. And he was actually in my wedding too. So I mean, I had 3 people in my wedding from 2-4 down. Half of like my groomsmen, I feel like. I'm pretty sure that was it. But I also wanted to mention, man, like, yeah, man, I loved With a Hat, man. Like, I actually brought my iPad and I was trying to charge it. This is my iPad from it's not iPad, iPod from college, and Hat downloaded like so much music on here that I had like Plain White Tees. He might have put some Chiodos on here. He might have put he put me on so much music that I would never listen to before, man. And I tried to charge it, but the freaking thing won't charge. But one thing I wanted to mention about living with Hat, what was funny was that, I don't know if Hat remembers, but you used to, sometimes when you used to go to sleep, you used to like wiggle your feet to put yourself to sleep. Or I don't know if you still do that or not, but like he used to just like jiggle his feet. Like I remember sometimes coming in when if he was in bed already, like he was laying down like on his stomach, jiggling his feet, or I don't know, Buddha mentioned about somebody doing something else moving the bed. So I hope that's what he was doing. I hope that's what you're doing. But I actually, to this day, funny enough, bro, I remember sleeping in bed, like feeling the wiggle, and I actually think it like cradled me to sleep. And so like now, like sometimes I'm in bed and I'm like moving my feet and stuff. It's like, you're shaking the bed. I'm like, oh, I know. Oh, sorry. Then I'm like going to sleep. I'm shaking my legs. Like, you're doing it again. Like, stop. Like, I was like, it's Hat's fault. He put it in me. But yeah, man, those were good times, brother, man. I really love both you guys, and both you guys are my true brother, man. And like you said, it doesn't matter if it's a month, few months, whatever. Like when we connect, man, it's just like right where we picked up, like everyone kept saying, you know. But
Yeah,
like,
I mean, this is like, I'll pull the curtain back here, like, and no offense to anybody else, but like this is the closest I've come to crying during any of the podcasts. So, like,
that's why I wore my hat like this. Just in case.
But Francis, you got anything you wanna?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to like get too repetitive here, but I did want to say a couple of things about your dad and how my brother and I were able to build even a small relationship with him because we grew up in the same area as you guys,
Yeah.
so we were always at your house and stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
And one story came to mind when I forget what car it was. It was a junky car. I think it was the car Gene broke the handle off of because it was frozen.
Freaking Gene, you still owe me for that. I still have a lawsuit against him for that.
I remember we were like putting speakers in your car or something like that the one time, and we were like, it was late at night and we were blaring them, and you were like playing like Christian rap music, and it was like real heavy bass.
Yeah.
I remember your dad coming out and just being like, "What is with the boom boom? Why the boom boom? Why do you like this?" And we're just like, we don't know. But I just remember being at your house all the time, and your dad was such a good dude. He was always very inviting. He was never judgmental. He loved everyone. I immediately felt a connection with him, and we were able to let it grow before he passed. And it was an honor to be there at his funeral with you guys and your family. So
listen, man, you guys, you never know how much that meant, man. I remember seeing, like, I literally see it, like I remember seeing Baldwin. I remember seeing Francis. I remember Kinder was there from whatever Yugi. Were you there or were you in Michigan at that time?
I think I was in Michigan at the time.
I think you were in Michigan. Like, I was trying to remember if Hat was there, but I was like, it was summer. I'm sure you were in Michigan, but I know you would have been there, man, if it was you were here. And I was trying to remember if there was anybody else. I was trying to remember so many people, man. But like, Francis, do you remember anybody else like Kinder? I know Baldwin, Yugi.
Yeah, there was a couple of
Matthias
people who were there. I don't remember the exact names, but I do remember grouping up with them, like beforehand, and kind of going over like how we really wanted to focus on lifting your spirits at this time where like it was just mourning. And I remember we went to like a local place. It might have even been like McDonald's or something afterwards, but it was just like 10 of us. You and Mike were there. All of us were there, and we were just like BSing like it was the cafeteria in college. And you guys were I just remember like,
that's what we needed, man.
Yeah, I just remember seeing you and Mike laugh and being like, this is what he needs, so we're just going to continue. So we were there for like hours and just hanging out in like a McDonald's around the corner or something. And it was awesome. I just remember having so much fun, and you guys left like with big smiles on your faces, with lifted hearts and stuff, and we loved it.
Well, and who has a more contagious laugh than Mike and Judy? Like, honestly.
Maybe you had, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. Big Daddy put it there pretty good.
Yeah, his is a little overwhelming, but yeah, he competition. But yeah, I did have one other question based on what you said. So Sandra was your current wife. She went to school when we were there, right?
Like, yeah, she was there when we were there.
So this flashes me back to Andrew Kindler. I'm close with him, and he was talking about how Nancy used to go to school when we were there, and she thought we were like bad people, that we were sleeping around and drinking and smoking and breaking all the rules, which some of those things may have occurred.
I plead the fifth.
But she thought
has all tattoos on his head.
And so she I thought at one point that we were like genuinely bad people. Did Sandra also think that?
So Sandra and I joke all the time until now. Sandra was just like when Kindler was talking about Nancy, like that's exactly how Sandra was. Like Sandra was in the choir. She like was followed the rules to the T. Like she might even made up some of the rules, for goodness sake. Like she but she's such a sweetheart, man. But she used to always say that she always remembers us being so loud and rowdy. And like, she's like, I remember like your brother, because she was a youth ministry major too. She said, your brother was so loud. I remember you coming to the cafeteria, like yelling with everyone and you're 2-4 down guys. And I'm like, yeah, well, I remember your booty, girl. That's what I remember. I mean, your duty to the choir into Valley Forge. But brother, she was no, she never said we were. She just always said we were rowdy and like we were loud. And I don't think she ever said anything like that we were like smoking and drinking, nothing like that. We were, but she was always like, I follow the rules. Why do you always break the rules? Like, why do you guys break rules? And like even now today, she tells me that. Even my 3-year-old tells me that. She just Sandra said something, and I'm like getting scolded by everybody at home. but no, man. But no, yeah, we didn't even know each other until after college. And I remember seeing her. I made that joke about choir, but I actually remember seeing her like in choir and singing it, and I'm thinking, that girl, that's good. And then, but I actually never really talked to her before until after Valley Forge. But
Yeah, that was the same for Kindler, but I knew that she obviously didn't see any of that happening, but I'm sure that there was like rumors and stuff going around,
I'm sure.
like saying that we're doing all this stuff, which we weren't. So I was just wondering if Sandra like heard those rumors or was able to judge for herself.
Okay, so let me clear a few things up real quick. For the record, at least my first year, if not first year and a half or two, I was good. I didn't do anything. And we all went downhill. So let me clear that. The other thing, though, like with the rumors, I mean, dude, and we could get into this a little bit. When we got suspended, and I'm only going to get into a little bit because there's part of it that I want to get into it. But when we got, not us three, when me and Rizzo and James and some of the girls got suspended, which that story will be covered in full detail in my episode. The rumors that went around then for that was insane. And like we turned ourselves in and said, here's what actually happened. But the rumors that came out of it were, there was a 200 plus like rave party on the back of campus. The cops got called. There was a rumor that we were like falling over at the bar, and Don Meyer walked in on us because he wanted to check to see if any students were in the bar, and he sees us in the bar like stumbling, like just crazy rumors. So I can't imagine the rumors that happened about us during the extent of our existence. But in all honesty, like probably rightfully so, because we were loud, we were obnoxious. To anybody outside of the 24 down bubble, like I think it's justified for them to hate us or think negative things, and not because we actually did anything, but we were over the top. So
yeah, she just remembers us being loud and rowdy all the time, man. And she definitely knew we were probably rule breakers for sure. I mean, and she, but yeah, man, she never mentioned anything about like stories she heard about 2 4 down, and she just remembers us always being together, sitting at the same table. She used to always tell me that, and but Sandra was definitely a good two-shoe when she was at Valley Forge. She still is, man. And that's what I need. I need balance in my life. She balances me out. Like when I went, when you have a dog and like you come home and the dog's like jumping up and down and like that's how my brother and I are when we see each other, and that's how we are when like we see you guys. Like we get by you guys and we get like hyper, man. We get like, and then like I come back and my wife's like, you need to relax and come back. You are off the walls, like, and then like I remember our first Zoom session, like we started at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and we went to like midnight or something, 1 o'clock or something like that. And she's like, I could not sleep at all. And I'm like, you gotta play hat. It was all hat. I always played hat. I was like, play hat. It was
all hat. No one else, just hat.
Hey, I will always. This is for the two of you and for everybody listening. If you ever need a scapegoat, I will always take the blame. I'm fine with that. Like enough of your wives know the trouble that I became later on, so I'm good with it.
But she didn't say anything because when you and I caught up, we did that FaceTime after the Zoom, like the day after or whatever, and to catch up, and I'm like, this is Sandra. She's like, hi, hat. I'm like, yeah, you don't say anything now, right? but yeah, and even when I was listening to these podcasts, man, like just like Big Daddy said, like I would be like listening and I would have my headphones and I was like start laughing, like when I was listening to like everyone, man. That is every single podcast, man. I'm just cracking up, like. And she would like wake up like, baby, you're waking me up, like, and I'm like, oh, like it just I love these podcasts, man. Catching up and hearing everybody's stories is awesome, man. It really is.
Nice. Well, I mean, there's Dude, this is I'm having the time of my life right now. Like,
Oh, you telling me, brother? You telling me?
and I dude, like, selfishly, like I feel bad in a way because like I get to be involved in every single podcast, so like I get to hear it first and everything like that. But man, I'm so like I'm so happy that this is a thing right now and that this is seemingly continuing. Because I think this is really, especially the way the world is right now, like this is so needed. This is such a escape for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is a week. It's just a great escape. You get to jog your memory of just awesome times back in college. And I mean, there's a lot of it that I really feel, and I've hinted at this a little bit. So here's another wink, wink, hint, hint. Like, there's a lot of this that I think is really leading to a 2021 reunion for sure.
Absolutely.
It was going to happen this year, and I'm in hindsight, I'm kind of glad it didn't because I don't know the response prior to the podcast, and I wasn't
certain a lot of people wouldn't have been interested, especially with the conditions of things. So
right,
wouldn't have had a big turnout, and it would have been kind of disappointing. But
yeah, so I'm glad this podcast is here because I think it's getting us all in that nostalgia phase, and we're like ready. Absolutely. Like, tell me this reunion is going to be in Beijing, China, and guess what? I'm gonna fly 30 some hours to Beijing. Like, I don't care where it is, I'm gonna be there. And I feel like a lot of people feel the same. Obviously,
I think the podcast is gonna help with that. Especially, it's gonna start jogging some memories, and people are gonna be like, "Man, I miss these people." And then it's gonna be like, we're going to be, 30, 40 weeks into this podcast. And then people are going to be like, dude, I have to see this person. We're going to this reunion. And I'm hoping maybe we can make it at Valley Forge.
Dude, I don't care if my wife is like pregnant. Like, if you're like 9 months pregnant, like we're going to hire like an on-call doctor to come with us. We're going to that reunion, brother. And she will deliver you in the middle of that 2-4 reunion.
And if it's a boy, you will
be the uncle.
If it's a boy, you will name that boy a hat.
Craig Labatt Vieira.
All right, well let's transition into some questions. Yeah, I'm gonna let Francis take over here and go through some of these questions. We got quite a few questions, Junior. I know you've seen most of them. I think there's a few surprises in here that you probably didn't see, but we'll let Francis take it over.
All right, so this one is from Rick. He says, Junior, I start off apologizing for not getting to know you better. I knew your brother more, but I also moved out of 24 Down shortly after you guys got there. I always liked your hair looking like Rico Suave. Do you still have the luscious locks? Your brother was pretty wild and crazy. You seem to be more reserved. Is that something that always was, or did that happen over time? What is your favorite Big Daddy moment, if you've had one?
Oh man, Big Daddy, man, I loved your podcast, brother. I think I'm gonna later on. I want to do a quick like run through of all the 8 podcasts before me and like do a quick synopsis. But man, I laughed so much at Big Daddies, man. Big Daddy, you are. I mean, it's not just you. I was like Hat said, and like we talked, I was only on the floor for 1 year, so that's probably why we didn't connect as much. But as for my hair, it's not as long as it used to be.
Where'd it go?
Wait. I still gel it every day. Let me get some water so it looks good for the camera. So, I still gel my hair. I got like more of a baby fro hawk, I guess, going like more like Big Daddy.
What?
I guess like a baby fro hawk. Yeah, man, but it's not as long, but I still gel it, so it's still like luscious and glimmering, I guess. But yeah, man, but I keep wearing a hat now, so I might be going bald a little bit. But
welcome to the club.
Yeah, man. No, but I don't have the long hair anymore. But it's still a little. I would say it's still luscious. I guess I would hope so. But what was the second question?
The second one was you seem more reserved. Is that something that always was, or did it happen over time?
I was worried. I am worried. Why are you shaking your no?
No, hold on. I want to interrupt real quick. Like, okay, are you more reserved than Mike? Technically, sure, but like. You are not reserved. I don't care. Like you must have had Big Daddy fooled here.
I think I know kind of what he's talking about, because you seem reserved, but once you like get comfortable with someone, which is very quickly, it's like over the top. It's like way more than it needs to be.
Yeah, and not in a bad way at all.
No, not at all.
I'm an angel. I don't know what you're talking about. That dude over there, my brother, I don't know what the freak is wrong with him. But no, but I have always been like a little more reserved. Like, I like to be more like funny enough, I like actually to be like behind the scenes. Like, I am an extrovert. I love to connect with people. But my brother has like, he's always like, I sometimes think like he got drunk off my mom's like breast milk or something. Like he's like that got him so like chemically imbalanced or something. Like because like he is wild, man. Like, and he has a perfect personality for like youth ministry and to put himself out there, and you know, youth and kids, they dig it up, man. They love to connect with them, and I have been a little more quieter. I do, like I said, man, I'm like a dog. When I get by you guys, I get like excited and I get loud. Like Sandra always like, I feel like she has to give me like one of like Majeski's like insulin shots when I get home. Like Majeski, I love you, brother. But like, I should use it as a roast thing that you were talking about. But yeah, man. So I have always been a little more reserved, but yeah, that's always been the case, man. Even through middle school, high school, he's always been reserved. But yeah, there's something wrong with that dude. I love him, but he's chemically imbalanced.
And the last one was, what's your favorite Big Daddy moment if you had one?
Oh man, brother, I would have to say it has to be like that ladder, like slamming hat from the ladder in the middle of the, like, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, I can't watch it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I had asked Buddha that question on his podcast, and I had asked Big Daddy. It was absolutely to antagonize Hat. Like, I still have the video, but like, I love seeing Big Daddy slam Hat to the ground. No, but no, it has to be to Big Daddy's laugh, man. Like, anytime Big Daddy laugh, man, it's so contagious. Like, and I always think he has like I think he has two types of laughs, man. He has like one like low gut, like ho kind of Santa Claus laugh, like when it's like, I think when it's like a medium moderate joke that he's laughing at, and then when he's like really laughing, it's like higher pitched. Like, I'm gonna text it and send it. Hat, you do an awesome job on these podcasts, brother. There was a time, it was like, I don't know, it was like 17 seconds, 37 seconds. And I rewinded it like 10 times because of Big Daddy's laugh, because he had said something and then you rebutted with something. You were like, and you stumbled just a little bit. Like, you never stumbled on the podcast, but you were like, you hit like hammer or the nails on the hammer or nail, like, and then all of a sudden Big Daddy just started laughing. Like, I don't know, because he was just thinking about that moment, whatever. But I repeated that, brother, like 10 times because of his laugh. Like, he's so contagious. I would say anytime Big Daddy was laughing, man. And I would also say, I think I remember seeing him on one of the football, like, laying people out when he was like playing football and laying people out. And like, for the fact that he was on our team and we were cheering for him, like, it made it that much better. Like, if he was on the opposite team, it was like, oh man, that's kind of cool. But he really, he really slammed that player. But no, but seeing him like slam people, that was pretty cool, man. That was pretty exciting. But
so
yeah,
Hat getting that up, got
awesome. And I can't wait to in the reunion and get to know him even better. But yeah, man.
Sweet. So Hat, you want the second question?
Sure. So this will, and you've touched on a lot of this. This is a question from Baldwin, and he just wanted to know. It's about your dad and everything like that, but specifically, he talks about how you and your brother walked through that situation, and you guys did it with so much grace, dignity, and respectability. And he said he always admired that about you guys. And I guess I think what he's trying to get at is like, how were you able to do that? How were you able to walk through that with grace and dignity and respectability?
Man, without a doubt, it has to be with God's grace, our faith, and it has to be without a doubt, man. When I look back and I try, like I was thinking about Balwood's question, and I was trying to think about like what really helped me get through that, and I appreciate the comments, Balwood, man. Love you, brother. You have a body of a Greek god, by the way. But It was a hard moment, man. I had never went through anything like that before, to lose my dad. And my dad, like you guys were talking about, like we were close. Like he was our triplet, man. Like we would bust on him, he would bust on us. We would, like you talked about the car, Francis. Like I remember when his truck was like broken down, he would take that to work and like jam the. Like I had a sound system with a big bass, and so he would put rap music and like roll up on the construction site, like going like trying to be all cool. Like he used to tell us he used to do that all the time, and then like. But what got us through, man, was that my dad had such upbeat. He was happy all the time, man. And I saw my dad go through some situations. Like I saw him go lose his mom. I remember, and he like sung at my grandma's wedding, or I'm sorry, her funeral. He like whenever there was like issues between people, whether it was the family or the church or whatever, like he handled it with such a different way. Like his faith was so like evident about him, and he loved on people. Like everything that you guys see that my brother and I are, and I appreciate all the comments, man, that you guys made. Everything that we are is absolutely a reflection of what my dad was. And it was absolutely like, again, my dad used to preach all the time at church. His faith, man, is what allowed us. We grew up in the church, and we grew up with my dad, not drilling and forcing religion on us, but like we wanted to make him proud, and we wanted to be in church because he just bestowed that on us. We used to pray all the time as little kids, read the Bible as little kids. And so I think all those memories, man, of holding on to that. And honestly, like Francis, like you mentioned, man, we used to go to like after the funeral, we went to McDonald's and we would just laugh like it was normal life. But whenever you can get the people back to like normal life, like that's really what got us through. You guys' support, man, the 2-4 Down support, the support from church family, the letters, it's truly what got us through, man. The prayers, prayer works, man. And honestly, I don't know what I would have done if it wasn't for the support of you guys. So I would say it was definitely the faith. It was the support from you guys. And it's not even how did you get through it? It's like, how did we get through it? Because like Hat and Francis, you talked about meeting them, but you guys were the ones that really came alongside us, man. And I got through it because I felt the support and the push from you guys to move forward with life too, and let us grieve the way we needed to grieve. But, and I'm glad I didn't, like, even when I went through the divorce thing and lost my dad, like I wasn't someone that wanted like pity. Like I didn't want pity. I didn't need pity to like move forward. And I appreciate the comfort for everyone, but what I wanted was real life. What I wanted was to laugh, because that's all my dad was. He laughed all the time. He joked all the time. He clowned all the time. And to go normal with like was to keep those memories and to continue that, like laughing and joking. And that's what you guys did for us, man. So Baldwin, I appreciate the question, man. I love you guys. But it was all you guys too, man. You guys really, your support got us through.
Yes.
Yeah, that was an emotional part for the whole 24 Down family, because you guys meant so much to us. So I think it affected us a lot. So I think that's why it's important, why it's still coming up as questions, and how you guys got through that.
Yeah, man. And it was like, the hardest thing about it too is that like I always envisioned growing old with my dad, my kids growing old with him. You know what I mean? And that's probably the toughest part. You know what I mean? Is that yeah, we get to spend memories and create memories now, but he's not around to experience that. You know what I mean? And sometimes even now, like, you know, he used to commute to work from PA to New Jersey, and sometimes I take that same route to go back home. And I think about like, man, this is what my dad drove. Like, I wonder what he was thinking when at this very second when he was like looking at the same tree. And I think about like signs and trees that were there for like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and he probably saw the same thing. And to think about like the human body, how it's, you know, it's not the same after you pass away. And I think about like I can go in every single corner of this world and never see him again. Like it's hard, man, and I can't wait to get to heaven and see my dad and hug him. But yeah, man. But I'm telling you, more than you guys know, like the support that you guys gave us and the brotherhood and the connection we have, man. You guys are our brothers, and you guys are the ones that truly, you know, you guys are the ones that got us through that. So I love you guys, and you have no idea how I can't thank you enough. I know my brother can't thank you guys enough, You guys are the best, man. I love you guys.
Well, we appreciate you sharing that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I know it's not like a easy topic to talk about. And I'm not gonna sit here and try and give you biblical advice because let's be honest, like I there's people that can give you better biblical advice or whatever. But you know, the best I can say is like, you know, I know he's not here physically on earth, but dude, he is. I can picture your dad's smile looking down on you and your brother both and what you've done and like, dude, yeah, like you're gonna have to. I mean, I'll allow you to do this, but like when you get to heaven, like you're gonna have to push me away because I'm gonna be running to get you.
Looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, we're gonna.
Let's lighten it up a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, lighten up, man. You got me crying on national TV.
It might be the first tears to shed on this podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not a little girl, Ken. Like,
No, okay. So the next couple questions come from Buddha. I'm just gonna go one by one.
what up?
The first one is, what was the loud banging coming from Josh's ceiling?
I'm gonna blame that on the 2-4 up people. They're rowdiness and they're jumping around and throwing stuff.
Let's place the scene real quick. So this is like the semester that Junior and I are living together, and Junior's on the top bunk and I'm on the bottom bunk. And I think we had, because you could like move the bunks like up and down a little bit, different settings or whatever, and we had yours at the very highest it possibly could be. Why?
Short.
Yeah, it's because you're short. Maybe you wanted to get like further away from me down below. Like I don't, whatever. But like as a result, you're pretty close to the ceiling.
Yeah.
Now this is also at a time when Carlos is our RA, and
enforcing rules.
and we all love to mess with Carlos. And so, as I recall it, it would be once in a while Junior would just start pounding on the ceiling. And keep in mind, like Carlos's room is what, like 3 or 4 rooms down from ours, so it's like not that far, and like all the walls in 24 Down are paper thin anyway, so you can probably hear it like all the way down at the end of the hall, but definitely you could hear it in his room. We did it because we knew he could hear it.
Yeah.
And it would just be this like loud pounding. And sure enough, like you'd wait like silent 30 seconds, you hear a door open, you're like, oh yeah, that's Carlos coming right here, you know? And he's walking around looking up at the ceiling. And eventually he'd get to our room. Did you guys hear that? And I think what I remember is Junior would always be like, yeah, I think it's the pipes or something.
Yeah, but that was going to be my second answer. It was like, as if it's not the 2-4 Down guys, it's definitely those pipes at Valley Forge that are haunted or that need work or something. The plumbing is horrible. But yeah, man, I remember it was so funny, man. And he was so like investigator hat, detective hat, like ready to go. And like, and I think it was actually pretty cool to see him like, I got to go talk with like the RA and have a sit down with him, see what's going on, investigate the other guy's rooms, or like, you know, and it was like Hat said, it was loud and it was so funny to like, he would come to our room, like, you guys hear that? And we would be like, I don't know what it is. And then like, sometimes like right when he would turn around and take like one step out of our door, I'd be like, real quick, like, and I would be sleeping. Like Hat said, I was so like, you know, he'd be talking. I'm like laying down on my bed, like I don't know, but like we're watching whatever, like Fight Club or whatever. And
hey, that's rated R. We don't watch that.
I mean self-love. And then, like I would be laying down, and then he'd like take one step, 2 steps out, and I'm like, and like I'm like, yeah, we definitely heard that. Like it's definitely those parts where like the 2-4 Down guys doing something. And now that like I think about like the whole flag burning thing, like I wish I would have done like 100 times more to like man to go up there and like bother 2-4 Down people. But yeah, man, I remember those were good times. Bro.
I vaguely remember a video of someone holding you guys doing that while you were pretending to sleep and slamming on the doors and stuff. I don't know if that.
So Junior, you might have this video, but I don't remember if it was the time that he pounded on the ceiling. But there was something that we did, and we were very loud or whatever, and we knew Carlos was coming, so we pretended to sleep real quick. And there's a crack in the door, and all of a sudden, like
Oh
Just
yeah.
in the crack of the door, you just see like this face, like serious face, like pop up, and we're like, and then he like came in. We had to pretend we were sleeping. Like,
I remember that because he came in to talk to you guys about being loud, and I might have been holding the camera. I don't know. Or maybe just saw it, but the camera was peeking through the crack in the door as it opened, and as he left, he straight made eye contact with the camera, even for like a split second, and it made no sense at all how he knew it was there or if he did it on accident. But it was just like really freaky.
Yeah, I think that was, and I think Buddha has another question right about like one of the Carlos moments or whatever. Like,
Yeah, he said share some memories of Carlos trying to tame you.
yeah, that was definitely the biggest thing with like Carlos. Like, I didn't do too much to Carlos, at least from what I remember. Like, what, dude? Like that. I used to.
you lived
What?
with me. You did a lot to Carlos.
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say. Like, I think one of the things is like I really enjoyed seeing Hat and Carlos go at it more than anything. Like I was like, again, I think I was more reserved, a little more quiet, but Hat would always speak his mind. Like if it was like that's like Carlos, it's like 5 minutes after 10 o'clock, like quiet time. Like the Cat would always like justify and always have like a reason to go back to the phrase. And I wish I had my camera more to record like those moments in those discussions. I'm like, get him, Hat. But but it was just like funny to see. Like I love Carlos, man. And hey, me Hispanic brother, I love you. He's like, but I remember too. I actually have the video of this, man. I have to one day. I have to get something going. I don't know, like a drive or whatever you guys like. I have to get these videos and these pictures. Like when you guys see some of these videos and the pictures, you won't believe it. But I have a video, and I remember, one of the things was Carlos was really serious about quiet time. When it was quiet time, it was quiet time, and a little creak on the floor, he would come out like, I heard that creak. Like, but I remember I have the video and I watched it like this week actually. Right outside our room, we had some chairs there, and Hat was sitting there. It was like, it must have been like 11:30, like midnight. Hat was sitting out there. Yugi was sitting there. Tim Sarajan and Buddha. Like the four of them were sitting there, right? And I think I went to the bathroom. I saw they were chit-chatting. It was late. I'm like, I'm going to get them. So what I did is I got my camera. I got a chair, and I started recording, right? And I opened up. Hat and I were rooming together. I put we were all the way at the end of the hallway. I put the chair down, and they're like looking like, what's he doing? You can tell them, you can see them like talking like, what's he doing? Like, I think he's about to do something. Like, and all of a sudden I put the chair down, I get my camera and I put it on the chair, and it's facing like Buddha and then the four of them. And they're like looking like, what's going on? And all of a sudden I go back to my room and I slam the crap out of the door so loud. I mean, and it echoed so strong. But the funniest thing about it is that I got each and every one of their reactions, bro. Like you have to see their reaction. They're like, oh, shoot. Like you would have thought a bomb went out and or a bomb went off. And you got to see Yugi's expression. They're like, I feel like we got to get Yugi's reaction like, tested. You know how they have those reflexes? Like, because like everyone was like, oh, and then like Yugi was like, he was like, oh, and then all of a sudden, like 2 seconds later, he was like, his body like jerked. Like 3 seconds later, it was like such a delayed reaction. I'm like, is this my video camera lagging or no? It's just his body like totally like 3-second delay reacting. Like it was so funny. But I'm gonna definitely get that circuit. Like we have to do a episode once where, you know how they do like on MTV or whatever, or one of those shows where you like have like a video and then you guys talk about it, or like while the video's role playing, or like those world's scariest moments or whatever. We have to do that, man. So once I get those like videos and pictures over to you guys, we have to have an episode where we watch these videos, like rewind them back and talk about it, so you guys can see exactly. Like I have it here, but it's probably gonna be hard for you to see.
We'll get to that maybe at some point.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to show you guys. But I remember that. But yeah, that must have been one of the things where Carlos like. I just liked, but more than anything, I think I liked seeing Carlos go at it more than anything. But and I think it had got me involved with living with him. I blame Hat again. I always blame Hat.
So I completely forgot about that story until you brought it up. But I now it's like clear as day in my mind. And you and your brother both have this, like, you both do the same thing. If you're up to something sneaky, you have this look on your face, completely silent. You just kind of walk and you do what you're going to do. So like literally that's what happened. Like you come out of the room with your phone and you looked at us and we're like, why is Junior not in our head? Like, at least in my head, I'm like, why is Junior not talking? And you go grab a chair. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Put your phone on your chair. I'm like, I just complete because you don't say anything, but it's almost like you're making eye contact the whole time. Like I'm about to do something. Like, oh yeah, that was hilarious for sure.
Yeah, man, those were good times.
So Buddha also wants to know about the time you slammed him on the floor. I think he's referring to when you guys wrestled and he underestimated you, I think.
Yeah, man. So I wrestled in high school, and I was a little guy. Like I wrestled 105. My brother always wrestled a little more. He was like 130 or whatever. Fat little blah. I love him. But he I remember I was like wrestled 105, and then like the year after I was supposed to be like go up a weight, and I like went down with like 100 pounds. Like, but I remember Buddha wanted to wrestle in something, man, and I had totally forgot about that until he brought it up in his podcast, and then like. I think I remember like I was hoping it was gonna be like a David and Goliath type of situation. Like, Lord, please be with me, the Lord of Jacob, God of Jacob. and and I think like I knew I couldn't just like go body to body with him. Like that dude would snap me like in a second, like with a like he could pick me up with his pinky if he wanted to. Like and like I remember shoot, I gotta go for like a leg sweep and like trip him or something. And it was like a wrestling move I used to do. And then like I think I remember going and like thinking, Lord Jesus, please be with me. And then I like closed my eyes and went for the move, and God of Jacob was with me. I took him down, and he was like, but like, yeah, man, I remember that moment, man. And like, I remember wrestling Commissioner Wolf too. I remember wrestling him. I remember he had me in a headlock, and like speaking of headlocks, we'll talk about headlocks soon.
It's coming up.
But yeah, man, I remember that. But I actually think Buddha got his retaliation without telling us to, because like if you remember, there's a video that I have that like I was sitting on or laying on the ironing board, the famous 2-4 down ironing board, when it still had legs. And then like first of all, like I think I was like 120. Like I don't know how the heck I was so light enough to lay on an ironing board without it like second, I don't even know why I agreed to like bounce off the ironing board. But Buddha had like a running start, and the thing was like that Buddha was gonna run and like belly flap on me, and he took like a 3-step running start and like came with all his might and crashed on top of me on ironing board. We both crashed to the floor, and like I'm holding my ribs like like say Buddha, what are you like? It was so funny, but I think he did that out of retaliation. Now that I think about it. But yeah, man, I remember that moment, man. Buddha, I love you, brother. I miss it. Yeah.
He wants to know if, what's your favorite Buddha moment as well. Is one of those maybe one of that?
Yeah, man, that was definitely one of it, because we joked so much. And when I was going through my videos, man, I have so I texted you guys right before that. I found the Bucking Buddha video. Like I might have to get his consent. We might have to censor some things out. But I don't even know if he wants out the being a pastor. I want to be careful, respect him. But man, there's so many videos of Buddha pranking people and like laughing what I loved about Buddha is like he would just like us, like he would dish out the pranks, but he could take a prank too. And on his podcast I had a question about him like being scared. And he wasn't a punk, like getting scared all the time, but I have video of us scaring him, and I had shared that one of him hiding in his trunk and popping out. And like I have a video of like hat with the screen mask and like him on the phone by the entrance door, and all of a sudden just creeping up and scaring him. Like he's like, oh, like, and then it's so funny because he goes, oh, and then he laughs. He goes, like it's so, like you got to see him, and it's so funny. But I would say every time, man, Buddha laughs, and we did that New York trip that you guys talked with Pete and Buddha. Like that was one of my favorite moments, because I remember seeing Buddha like joke with his wife, and like, like I said, he just like when I was with you guys, I would get so hyper, and I think Buddha was hyper. And like he said, his wife was like 4'11", and she was about to like smack Buddha that one time, because like, you better relax and call. Like, who are you talking to? Like, like it's just so funny, man. Like I just remember joking with Buddha all the time. But I would say that the slamming hat through the 2-4 down ground off that ladder was also a favorite Buddha moment. Yeah, I think it was.
Sounds like you have a lot of favorite Buddha moments.
Yeah, man. But yeah, just every moment with Buddha is awesome, man, because he's such a good guy. Like you say, he's the Godfather. He was like Hat said, like he was one of the ones that came over to us and talked to us, and like like you said, we barely knew each other. He wanted to wrestle me and joke. Like You know what I mean? And like I have video of Hat going around with that ski mask and like pranking people, and you see Buddha in the background, like so like excited and happy and laughing. Like he's always just a happy-go-lucky man, and I'm glad to hear everything that he's doing at Yonkers, New York, and pastoral position. And yeah, man, I miss that dude love. But yeah, a lot of good Buddha moments, man.
All right, I'm gonna take over the next two set of questions.
Okay.
All right, so the first one, the first set of questions comes from your twin brother Mike.
Oh.
So
There's a reason you put it in group chat.
he's got 3 questions for you.
Okay, here we go.
His first question, and we'll get into we'll do the story now. He wants to know how thankful you are to your brother for saving your life from Hat in college.
Saved my life from Hat in college?
Yeah, you remember the story? This is the story.
Yeah. So I had never had a near life death experience until I met Hat. Like all my mother, my father, my grandparents, my great-great-parents, my ancestors from the Brazilian rainforest used to pray for protection for me. And Hat almost just threw that completely away. So like, and there's something else I have to make a comment about. But so just to build the story for everyone, like this was like a time where we were all ball tapping each other. And you know the chain reaction, and like Big Daddy said, like when we slammed Hat through the floor off that ladder, like just to laugh at people's pain was like so funny. And it was the time of ball tapping, and I remember like Hat was, I think I was living with my brother. It was the first semester, and my brother was on his desk, and Hat came into our room, and for whatever reason, like Hat was just standing there, and I saw the opportunity. It was like a light. I'm like he's wide open, and then bam, brother, I swing at him and I ball tap him, and it must have been at like a very sensitive spot that he's never been ball tapped at before. Because what happened next was like you can see he like cringed and like, oh, but then you can see like some anger in his face too. Like he got like angry, and then like I'm laughing, and at the same time, man, I have like a bag of mini Oreos because I always used to eat Oreos, and I'm like eating my mini Oreos, like cracking up, laughing. And I'm like, I think laughing on my knees, like cracking up, and like. And all of a sudden, Hat, this is why, kids, you don't watch a lot of WWE, okay? This is why it's only fake. It's not real life. All of a sudden, Hat jumps on me, puts me in this, like, chokehold. And I'm like, I'm like coughing on my Oreos. And I'm like seeing the light in heaven. Like, I'm thinking, this is my time, I'm going. And then all of a sudden, my brother, like, gets out, like, Hat, get off, like, you're choking on me. And like, and then Hat and I started like going at it, and there was like curse words going at it, and then like Hat and I started going at it, and then I think from my brother trying to break us up, like me and my brother started going at it, and it was like, and Ryan Frizzo came in, and some other people might have come in because we were yelling all that our lungs, man. It was like again, it was like a Royal Rumble WWE match about to go down, like, and I just remember, man, like Hat, like you could have grabbed my hand and like tapping, like I was like I was about to like faint, like it was choking me so much. But yeah, I do gotta give it to my brother, because if he wasn't there, God knows I might be under the ground right now, and you guys might be doing this podcast on my tombstone right now. Because
so not that I'm going to justify any of this, but let me
here we go.
let me explain at least like my mindset of it. So like I think, if I remember correctly, I think what it was like, you got me so good. Like you got me so good. And then it was your laugh, like you were dying laughing while I'm in pain. I'm like, no, this is, and I feel like I almost like blacked out for a second. Cause I remember like putting you in this chokehold, which I don't even know how I like got you in that. And the next thing I remember is Mike pulling me off, and like you and I were going at it, and then like you said, like I think if I remember correctly, I think Mike was, after he pulled us off, he was like, well, Junior, like you did, like he was like almost on my side a little bit, so then like you were pissed because you almost like died. And he's
and you
like,
ruined my bags of Oreos. I think I dropped some.
it was crazy, but like again, that shows like how close we are, because we were pissed at each other for like maybe the rest of the night, maybe. And then by the next day, we're like hugging it out, like, sorry, love you. And like next semester living together. So it's like,
that was
yeah.
exactly it, man. Like, I remember even that night, like I had crawled onto my bed, like I was huffing and puffing. And I'm like, I was so mad, and I knew you were mad, and my brother was mad. We were all like, all very angry. But then, like, I remember you even coming, like, hey, man, I'm sorry, brother. Like, and I'm just saying, okay. And like you said, man, we woke up and we went, like, we had classes together. We went to class together. We got on each other and joked. I probably didn't ball tap you the next day, but we probably joked each other. I think I gave that a little space. But like, we went to lunch and did like, we did everything we did like each and every day. But like, yeah, man, like, and my brother and I fought a lot growing up. Like, we got into fist fight. I remember in high school, we were in soccer, and in the middle of a soccer game, man, like, he told me to guard somebody, and I'm like, well, you guard him. And then all of a sudden, the dude that he told me to guard, like, scored on us. He's like, see, and he got him in our face, and then I, like, pushed him, and he, like, smushed my face, and I threw a right hook. He threw a left hook, and like, they separated and, like, red carded both of us at that very moment.
You get red carded for fighting your own team.
Yeah, and then it's like stink because we went down from like 11 players to 9 players in like 2 seconds. And then like we got reamed from our coach. But like my brother and I fought a lot, but then we just lived life right after. And that's exactly what happened with Had and I, man. It was no love lost. It was just like, we were in the heat of the moment. But yeah, man, I do thank my brother that the Lord was with him and gave him wisdom to take that off of me.
My favorite part of that story was the integral part that the Oreos played in it.
Oh my God, man, that was everything to me. My Oreos, oh my gosh. And I was a poor college kid. It took me a lot of money to save up for that back then. They're like $3, $4 a bag.
So the next question from your brother, and we touched on this a lot, so you don't have to go too much into it. You can give a quick answer if you want. If you want to go more, you can. He wants to know what it was like getting slammed by Buddha on the ironing table.
Oh my gosh, brother. I think I'm just happy that I didn't like break my rib cage and my diaphragm, and like blood didn't come gushing out my ears. Like no, man, but it I don't know. It was we were laughing at, like, I just remember it's like I was rolling in pain laughing. It was good times, man. No, it was just good times. I wouldn't do it again ever, but.
All right, and your brother's last question, and this is a very fitting question from your brother. He wants to know, what do you love most about your brother?
Oh, man, I love that dude. My brother and I are really close. What do I love about him? I love that he let me live with him rent free for a few months. No, man. My brother is full of life, man. My brother loves to have just live life, and he's full of life all the time. My brother and I when we talk, like, we're always close. Like, we are very similar in personality, and we can always be, when we talk, we have like deep conversations, but we're always pranking each other, just like the way you and I had in Francis. Like, when we joke, we get on each other and we joke. Like, he and I are that every single time we see each other. Like, I jump on him, he's laughing at me, he's making a joke about me, I'm making a joke about him. But I just love, more than anything, like, I don't know what I love most about him, but more than anything, I just love sharing life with him, man, because I was blessed. Like I give you credit, Had, like, you came from Michigan all the way to like a PA. I don't know if you've ever been a PA before prior to that, but like you came to college, and you like, and I always wondered what that would be like, because I always, you go to a job, you get butterflies, you go to the first day of school, like in middle school, elementary, you get butterflies. And I was blessed enough to, like, every scenario in my life, I had someone to go through life with, to help, lower that anxiety. We shared elementary school, middle school. We were in the first day of classes. A lot of times we were together. Like, college, we were together, and we got to room together. Like, it really helped with the anxiety. But more than anything, man, I just love him that he's always there for me. He's my right hand. He's my support all the time. We're crazy close. And he just moved to Florida. And so, like, we FaceTime all the time now. And we're trying to keep each other accountable for trying to lose some weight. And but yeah, man, I just love everything about him. I love everything about him.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to have your brother on. It's because I love you both, man. Like, you guys, like you said, like, I was the adopted triplet, and so I'm a little disappointed because like that was your perfect, like that question was your perfect opportunity to say, like slam your brother.
I know, but I didn't.
And meanwhile, every podcast you have to bring up about how I get thrown through a table by Rick and Buddha.
Yeah, I was trying to think about what to say about him. I couldn't think of it.
No, that's great.
Pass this time.
That's great. All right, so these next two questions. This is a first in the 24 Down podcast. Believe it or not, we have two people that asked the exact same word for word question. Like we're 9 episodes in now. Never seen this, but I'm going to go ahead and read the question. This question comes from Juge and Francis. They both say, literally word for word, they both say, "Did you come from heaven because your beauty is out of this world?"
Man, to be honest with you, that's a question that I struggle with since infancy. Like, since I was born, and every time I look in the mirror, man, I'm reminded of it. But I think the most obvious answer is yes. I mean, my olive oil smooth skin, my great beard.
Well, you're looking radiant today.
Oh, thank you, man. I love you, man. I appreciate the question, but the answer is obviously yes.
All right. So the next one is from Colleen. That's a good question. If you could go back to 24 Down for one day with all the 24 Down there, but you were only allowed to do one thing with them, what would it be?
That was a great question, man. I'm glad some of these questions came before, because I'd be here for like 2 minutes with silence thinking about, shoot, what should I say? Like, so I thought about that. Colleen, I hope you're doing well. I'm in New Jersey too, by the way. Don't forget me, I'm in New Jersey. But that was a great question. I think when I was thinking about it, the one thing I probably would want to do is probably set a long table in the middle of 24 Down building and have like a sit-down meal with all of us, like in the 24 Down hallway, just joking and laughing. Because one, I love to eat. Two, I love to eat with you guys and to joke and like go through all the memories. Like when we sit on a podcast, when we sit on a Zoom, like wherever we are, just sitting and talking and joking, we're getting on each other, we're laughing, we're joking. And I love, man, the memories of going to the cafeteria and eating as a group. Like it reminded me so much of even growing up, like my Brazilian church and my youth group. Like, but with you guys, it was so special, man, because we used to just have a true, like, tight-knit community and joke on each other all the time. And I remember my brother, like, remember Samson used to call us Mexican. He's like, "You little Mexican." Like, he's kind of like, yeah, you little Mexican. And then, like, I remember, like, my brother and him would, like, go at it at the 24 Down table in the cafeteria. Like, he said, "Yeah, well, you do head like cafeteria." And then all of a sudden my brother would be like, "Don't that guy!" Like, like, I remember they would, like, go at it all the time. And then, like, and then I remember, man, like, that's why I would never, more than anything, I would just get us around the table. I would eat. So I would say we'd be in the 24 Down table. We'd eat a meal. We joke. We laugh. We go probably to the cafeteria to eat like dessert or something. And then maybe we'll end it with a prayer and like the 24 Down chant. We put Buddha back in the middle, get out with a chant, and then we'll go home to a pretty wide.
That's a great answer, because a lot of people expect you to pick like something that we would do together, like a sport or something. But when you said that, like I pictured it happening again, and it really gave me like butterflies, because I miss that so much. Just not even doing something specific, just sitting around is like what 24 Down was all about. It was just literally whoever was in the hallway was like having the best times. Whoever was in the cafeteria with us was having the best times. Like that was awesome.
Yeah,
guys, I have news for you.
Uh-oh.
It may not be within the building itself, but that's good.
Down.
No, I don't think it. I don't think it.
Okay.
No, the building is still up there as far as I know.
Yeah, so it may not happen in the building itself, but I'm telling you, 24 Down reunion, that is going to happen again. We are all going to be sitting at a table. Just, it is going to be the longest dinner of all of our lives, and I cannot wait for it.
Yeah, the table thing. A lot of people refer to that in their podcasts and in their career, because the table, it doesn't seem like much, especially from an outsider and an objective point of view. But like for us, it was like we had like, what was it, like 5 tables together. It was the only part in the whole cafeteria that did that, and it was like designated for 24 down. Like no one sat there. It was the biggest table of all, and no one sat there. And then when a couple people did, we'd walk in together with our 24 down group of 30 to 40 people, and then they would get up and they'd be, oh no, and they'd leave. They'd make sure that we got the table that we were like, that was designated to us. And it just happened. Nobody was like, we're going to sit over there. It just like happened. So like that's a big like primary in the 24 down is that table.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, I miss that table. I miss that whole time. And what's funny too is we would always greet each other. Like we lived on the floor. Some of us had classes together, but then like we would wake up, we go to class and see each other and like give you a hug, man. I do what's up, like I just saw you like this morning when you're brushing your teeth, like, and then we come back to dinner. Like it was like 3 days went by, we see each other again. Like, what's up, man? Like, I remember Francis you used to have all those secret handshakes out there, didn't you? Like those basketball handshakes, like
whatever. You don't have to worry about that.
I remember, like, but I had the brother. I remember like we would greet each other no matter at the cafeteria, like, and hug each other all the time, constantly. Like that's why it's truly like a brotherhood, man. It's truly family, and it's intimate, it's close, man. But yeah, that's definitely what I would do.
Sure. What's interesting to me in a way, and we'll continue on with these questions in a second. I just want to bring this up real quick about the whole table thing and the fact that it is going to happen again at the reunion. Whenever the reunion is coming up soon, we'll figure it out. But what's interesting to me is in college, we were doing this and we were all single guys. Like maybe we had dating relationships and everything like that. But for the most part, aside from a few like Katie, for instance, she was involved in it. But like for the most part, we're married to people that had no idea. So like, what's it going to be like for them? Because we're all going to be like, yeah, this is great. I could just see like all of our wives being like, you guys are a bunch of idiots.
After the sound's going to inject me with the insulin shot out of nowhere, right in my behind when no one's looking.
All right, so this next question, a set of questions, comes from Wolfie. The first question, yes or no, is he wants to know: you guys are identical twins, right? You and Mike?
No, man, we're fraternal.
Yes. So, and that I know will shock a lot of people because, like, if you look on the surface, you guys are identical twins. Like you looks like you guys have your own style each, and you have your own appearance each, but you look very similar. You act like, and you guys are so close. So most people would think you were identical. Like, I know initially, like before I found this out, like I thought you guys were identical, for the first few weeks or whatever until you guys told me. So for argument's sake, we're just going to pretend for a second that you guys are identical. And he wants to know if there's limits to your physical likenesses. For instance, do you guys have identical tongues? And have you ever used it to your advantage?
The identical tongue was a little dark. I'm like, I don't know how to. I'm not into that. Yes, we have identical tongues. But yeah, no, we're very similar in stature. We're similar in everything. But yeah, no, we did it once. Like we switched classes once, like in high school. And I remember going to his class and like pretending to be him. He went to my class pretending to be me. And I remember talking to the teacher, like purposely, like raising my hand, trying to ask questions. And people knew in the classroom, they were laughing and giggling and stuff like that. They're just like, "Oh, stop it, Mike." I'm like, "No, you stop it." And then like all of a sudden, like I think that was the only time. We only did it once. We never tricked a lot of people. That was the one thing we didn't do. Like we didn't do a lot of that, but I'm trying to remember if there was anything. Oh, I think even I could have sworn like in middle school, I might have like given his name instead of my name. Like, "Oh, you're late. What's your name again?" Michael Vieira. Let me show you ID. So like, but yeah, man. I think more than anything, that's when I think we're just very similar in stature, similar in our tongue. If you want to see my tongue. But yeah, man.
Okay, so the next one is from James Medjeski. He wants to know if you were embarrassed by your bro pooping on the bathroom floor during or after one of the meetings.
Yes and no, I guess. So like, thankfully, I was a commuter at that time, so I didn't have to smell all the stink that all you guys smelled during that time. But like I wasn't there for it. I guess like I'm not embarrassed in the sense that I'm so used to this dude doing crazy things. Now, that was a first in my 20 plus years of being with him in life. That was the first of him doing something that crazy. But it was embarrassing because like I think that was mentioned on every single podcast, and like it's like something everyone remembers and mentions. And I'm like, why couldn't it be like, remember when Mike like did the winning touchdown and got us the trophy, or like when he scored the winning goal, or when he saved that little kid's life from the Phoenixville Middle School, or like no, it's like, remember when Mike pooped on the floor in Dubai? And that's probably what like he and I are different. Like, for 30 plus years now, I've always used the toilet, and he like just goes wherever he wants. He's a wild animal. That's what I'm saying. I'm much more reserved. I would never do that. Yeah, man. But yeah, yes and no, I guess.
So we got one more question or set of questions from Andrew Kindler. Before we get to that, I'll let Francis ask that question because I want to interject and ask a question now based off the pooping story. And I just were you there or were you not there type of question, because if you weren't there, then we'll save most of the story for Mike's episode. But were you there? Were you there the time that it was either the beginning of a school year or the beginning of a semester, one of the two? And I remember clear as day, Tom Rizzo was coming back from Buffalo, and we're all like, oh, he'd text us like, I'll be there in an hour or something like that. And we all decided, hey, like it'd be really funny if we greeted him in a really funny way. And so we all basically stripped down to absolutely nothing and then like put a sock over our junk. Were you there for that?
Thank God, no.
Okay, so do you know what your brother did at this point?
Oh gosh,
that was the craziest memory. I think that was the hardest I've ever laughed.
No, I don't think I ever heard this story.
We will save this for Mike's episode. Like that's in the biz. That's what you call a little podcast teaser right there. So
I've never heard that story.
Dude, it is so, like Francis is right. Like I was on the floor, like crying. In pain, laughing so much.
I was like dry heaving. I was laughing so much. Just the visual of what happened will never leave my mind. I still picture it to this day, exactly how it went down, and I can't wait. Mike, if you're listening, we have to get you on here.
Even more so than healing. Now, I wasn't there for that either. With you healing down like butt naked. Like.
Way more. Yeah. After we get off air, we'll tell you the story. But I'm gonna leave it as is and let the story unfold on Mike's episode.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right. Well, so the last question comes from Andrew Kindler. He says he's married to an identical twin. Nancy is actually an identical twin. Do you and Mikey text and talk every second like my wife and her twin? And do you have your own feelings?
I don't know, Frida. I don't think we have the same feelings. I don't know. But my brother and I do. I mean, I think women talk a lot more than men do in general. So he and I, we catch up every now and then. I mean, we've been FaceTiming a lot since he moved to Florida, and we FaceTime, and then we also been trying to keep each other accountable, like I said, for the weight loss. So we text each other all the time. He sends me like funny videos, and he and I are big and like we're both relaxed the same way. Like we like to watch the same type of like sit down, lay down, and watch like YouTube videos and pranks and jokes and stuff like that. And so we're like, so we do text each other a lot, and we call each other. Sometimes it'll be like a week or two that might go by, but we usually stay in touch for the most part. We'll catch up. And then what was the second question again?
It was, do you have your own feelings?
Yeah. I don't know. Do I remember? When he cries, I cry. When he laughs, I laugh. You know, like he pitch me, he feels it. You know, all that great stuff goes. But well, I mean, we're different in the sense that like he's brave enough to like do on the floor, and I wouldn't do that. But like, so like I guess we're different in those type of feelings. But yeah, we do, but we don't.
Well, that's I mean that's pretty much the question segment right there. I'm gonna let you, if you have any other stories you want to share, I'm gonna let you do that. There's one thing I want to share. It doesn't really fit in with a question. It was more of a story that I wanted to share. And I know you know this, but when you left Valley Forge and you were living in the apartment in Drexel Hill, that was like, I was, at first, I was so bummed out that you weren't going to be back on campus. Like it like killed me inside because I was like, I'm losing my best friend, like whatever. But we like, I don't know if we talked about it and decided it was a thing or if it just kind of became a thing. But basically what would happen was a minimum of once a week on Mondays, I would drive all the way to Drexel Hill because you had cable at your apartment and I would watch Monday Night Raw. I remember you gave me a key to your apartment. In all honesty, I was probably there most times more than once a week. But like, I didn't care. I didn't care that it was a 45-minute drive and I'm a poor college kid. I was going to see my best friend and it didn't matter. And I know, like you said earlier, like there were part of that was like some dark times for you and everything like that. But there was also some, at least for me, and I'm sure you're the same way, there was also some really bright, shining moments through that. Like as soon as you talked about the Chinese place and the workout center, like, I mean, I could picture it. I can picture the opening the door, having to go up the long ass hallway all the way up. Like, I mean, clear as day. Like, I spent a week there when I got suspended. Like, it was like my oasis away from campus. So it was like, I get to go to my best friend's, like he's got an apartment 45 minutes away. Like, one of the craziest things to me was the first time that I went there, the very first time, and I don't remember if it was to help you move in or if I don't remember what it was for. Very early on, and I went there and I drove, and the way to get there from Valley Forge was really weird. You would have to like go back roads, highway, back roads, highway, back road. It was like really weird. Like, should not be able to remember how to get there off the top of your head. I drove there one time, and ever since then, like, to this day, I could probably go to Valley Forge campus and drive to that apartment because it was just like, I think the excitement of everything, of being able to hang out with you still, and just be brothers with you still. Like, like I said, I know that was a dark time at times, but those times hanging out with you, I will never forget.
Yeah, man, me too, brother. And again, it's those times, man, that got me through. You have no idea how those times got me through the rough times, man. And like, not even a lot of people don't even know. Like, when I was living there by myself, like, and after I separated, you know, from Jen, like, I actually never slept on the bed ever again until I moved out of the apartment. Like, every single night, I fell asleep on the couch and I watched Planet Earth all the time. Like, you know, and I was really lonely at that time, but you have no idea. Like, when you showed up, man, the excitement that I got, like, and when the other 2-4 down guys would come down and like, yeah, man, you would travel all the way from, and it was, people didn't realize it's not 45 both ways. It's 45 minutes each way, there and back.
Right.
Like, and so, like, and I know sometimes you stayed the night, and so, like, other times you would go back, but like, man, I love when you would like stay the night because, like, yeah, I got somebody to hang with, like, and it was you as a hat, like, you know, you're my brother, and just like as much as I cling to my brother, and so, like, yeah, man, those were some good times. And I think, were you there when I don't know if when it was when I moved in or I was moving out, like, I had to get the couch in, and like you said, we had those long steps and just a little narrow door.
Hold on, didn't we not be able to fit it through the hallway and we had to put it through the window?
We had to put, and I was on the second floor, like, like Kat said, and I think you were there for me in Drexel Hill, and Francis was there for me, and I did the same thing in Phoenixville when I lived there.
Didn't we like back up a truck and like put it off the balcony onto the truck or something like that, like moving truck?
Yeah, so that was easier. So in Phoenixville, like I lived in the second floor. I think we were moving in and moving out, or I think we gave the couches to you, didn't we? But that
I
might have
think
been
so.
in storage, I think. I'm trying to remember, Francis. But I remember, I think, Francis, you were there in Phoenixville. I'm trying to remember how you were on the Phoenixville one, too.
I don't
If you
know.
were,
I don't remember the Phoenixville one off the top of my
you were
head. I
definitely in
remember.
Drexel Hill, though, because I
Yes.
remember you being there. But,
Yeah.
like, in Phoenixville, we drove the we drove the U-Haul truck there. We had bought this, Sandra had bought this crazy, like, we have regular couches, but at Goodwill, she found this, like, 13-foot, 15-foot long couch. And we lived at, this little apartment, and we couldn't get it through the stairs or through the door. So we got a U-Haul truck one to pick up the couch from Goodwill. And Francis was there, and I think Tim Serasian was there.
Was
And
this
what we did,
was this like literally right down the road from campus?
right down the road.
By
Literally,
that bar kind of that
yeah, exactly,
yes,
right there.
I now I remember that
And
one
you
too.
you guys helped me haul that thing. So we put the U-Haul truck, I got it onto the sidewalk, like where it was like kind of right underneath my balcony. And like, I think two of us like hoisted it up to one or two people that were standing on top of the U-Haul.
Yeah.
And then from the U-Haul, you guys helped me get it through the balcony door to the second floor. I think I had to do that twice when we got the couch and when we moved out.
Yeah, because you definitely did it in Drexel too, and then you did it in Phoenixville.
And the Drexel Hill one was even harder because
it was high.
It was high, and there was like a ditch with like bushes. So like in Phoenixville, we were able to get the U-Haul truck, get it up to the person on U-Haul, and go right through. There, I think the maintenance guy had it. It was like a big window, a bay window. He took like the screws out, and we had to do it like on a ladder, like that was like slanted or tilted or sloped. And we had to get it through and out that way. You were there for that. I remember.
We didn't have a truck to stand on. Like
right.
All I remember is.
And Drexel Hill was hard.
I don't even remember a ladder. A ladder makes sense, but I don't remember a ladder. I remember somebody or two people being on the ground and basically like pushing it up as high as they can. And there was two of us like hanging over the balcony, like trying to not fall off, trying to grab. Yeah, that's
cool. Yeah, man, I definitely owe you guys like when you guys move again. Like I owe you a moving buddy for sure.
just buy me a buffalo chicken sub from Wawa when I get to Pennsylvania, and then I'll be good.
I remember every time after 422, man, we used to go play soccer at 422, like Friday nights, and we would every time driving back, we'd stop at Wawa and get I think you're the one that got me on that, like the buffalo chicken cheesesteak subs. And I eat that until this day. Like sometimes I come home from work and I'm traveling home and Mark's like, oh, I got dinner. I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I stop at Wawa and I get a hug. She's like, I just told you I got dinner for you. I'm like, I know, but I need it.
Yeah, I still pass 2 Wawas on my way home from work.
What's that?
I passed two or three Wawas on my way home from work, so I always have that option. Sorry.
I hate you guys.
What do you got over there at Sheets?
No, we don't have. No, we have 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven. Thank you for coming. Sorry.
Well, Francis, is there anything you want to touch on? If not, or if you do, or if not, like after you touch on your stuff, we'll let Junior close it out with any stories.
I think I'm all right. I'm just ready to hear if Junior wants to talk about a story or two.
Yeah, man, I'll bring some. I know we're getting up against the clock, man. I don't want this to go like 3 hours.
Hey, you're good, man.
But I'll go through real quick some of the things. I got some bullet points that I went through from each of the episodes real quick, so I'll do those real quick, and then I'll close it out. But like DSHAT, man, it was encouraging. 28 countries, man. That's crazy. And like, I'm looking forward, brother, to that book. So definitely let us know when that book comes out. I think we said August 13th or something. So his stories were awesome, and the healing and stuff like that. Like, I'm so intrigued by all that, like the healing. And I don't, I'm not involved in ministry that much, and I don't see that much. But to hear it from someone that is like someone you knew and who's authentic was awesome. Or DSHAT, Bren, ¿Dónde está el amor de Cristo? At least I tell him that all the time, but I forgot to ask him that on his thing. Next time, DSHAT. Kindler, brother, thank you for your service, man. It was crazy listening to some of that and some of the fear he had, but how strong he was in his faith. And his interview with his girl's hat that you did was awesome, man. That was awesome. I don't know if Kindler remembers. The story with Kindler was, I remember, I think I was graduating, and a lot of people had left. It was me, Kindler, Raven, Carrie, and I think some other people. Francis might have been there. Like, we all like since it was like the last day we were graduating, we knew it was like the end. Like we all stood in that hat. It was our old room. And we like started crying. We did like a group hug, man. And I remember crying and like with all of them. And like that was such a deep moment that I never forget because I'm like, dang, this is like the end of it. And that like that really hit me hard because I'm like, this is gonna end the 2-4 down. This is it, you know, like at least building wise, you know. But I remember that moment. And I was crazy, man. We gotta go piss. I was I was laughing so hard when Matthias, or when he called Matthias radio today during the group chat. He kept calling him radio. I'm like, I get it. That's what was cracking me up. And then Buddha, when he was going through his 6-month process for being a youth pastor, that was crazy. I was going to mention something about Buddha. That I don't know if Pat remembers when we went to that Yonkers. We went to Yonkers, New York, and we were at Buddha's church. And I don't know if Buddha remember. And this is no reflection on Buddha's church and the congregation, nothing like that. But I wonder if like Pete or if Nate or my brother, if they remember, or even Buddha, if you remember. I remember they were doing the offering plate, and they were sending the offering plate, and it came through our row. The offering plate came, and none of us put anything in. They were poor guy, like, and there was this big guy holding the offering plate, and he goes, "Hey Buddha, your friends they're cheap." Do you remember that when we went to Yonkers? We were at Buddha's church, and like again, Buddha, I love you. There's no reflection of Yonkers Assembly of God or the people, even the person. But I was telling him we were at the church, and we were all sitting in an aisle together. And Buddha, I think, was at the end. And they passed the offering plate down the line. Do you know what happened?
Yes.
What happened?
So from my recollection, like we didn't put money in. And we got like scolded almost, not like scolded, but like looked down upon. Like,
yeah, well, the guy was like, he said, "Hey Vincent," he said, "your boys there, they're cheap." Or he's like, "You got some cheap friends." Like I never forget that. Not that because that was like a bitter taste in my mouth. Nothing like that. I just always thought it was like funny. I remember Buddha turning to us like, "Hey man, no, he's joking, and he was very well could have been. I think he definitely was for sure. But I just never remember that. I always never forget that because now when I'm at church, like. I put my credit card in if I don't have cash. I put a stick of gum if I have to. Like, no, man, but I always remember that as a funny memory. Man, I had so many things written down for Buddha, but I'll come back to that. Big Daddy, I thought how vulnerable, how honest, how raw he was, man, on his podcast. Again, I didn't get to know him that personal or that personally, but I think he needs to write a book too, man. Over everything that the way he was expressing himself of the hurt that he went through ministry, he had a lot of good things to say. So, man, you definitely have to get that preaching video too that you said you can't find, Big Daddy. You definitely need to do that. And then when I was listening to his podcast and he was talking about like the credit application and like Amy Miller. Like I was like, it was like I had my headphones on. It was like me watching a soap opera. Like my face was like I was like thinking about like where it was gonna go and like nothing bad again on Big Daddy, but like it was such a crazy story. Like I did not see that coming on his podcast, but like but again, nothing against him on that, but it's like not entertaining. That's all. But Big Daddy, man, you had a lot of good things to say. I definitely think you need to write a book. His freaking impression of Andrew of Kindler catching that ball, the softball, like, and how you mentioned like angels in the outfield type of moments, like, man, that thing was cracking me up. Francis, man, I remember Francis' wedding. I know we were in Francis' wedding. That thing was so much fun. And I always think about Francis and Monkey like, I always think of them as like Grease and the Pink Ladies, like, or like T-Birds and Grease, like, because you guys are just so cool and so smooth. Katie was like always a 2-4 down girl. She was like a pink lady, and Francis was like one of the T-Birds from Greece. And so I always remember that. And you guys were talking about Matthias and cutting hair. Like I have the picture. I think it was Matthias that did it. That didn't he carve out 2-4 down on your beard?
Yeah, he did.
Matthias,
yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I have those pictures that I definitely have to circulate for you guys. Matthias, I hope you don't have COVID-19. I'm praying for you. That test was crazy. I love you, man. Everything that Matthias went through, like his crazy stories, man. in his working at the detention center. But let me just make sure, man, nothing else. But I have so much other things, man. I'll do another episode. We'll have to go through this, but like, you know, I remember Hat with his Pound It. Like Hat what Pound It. We were all at the event and Hat, I don't know if you were like tipsy or what, but like everything he said.
Just passed. We passed that.
Tipsy's an understatement.
Everything he was saying.
I'm gonna go
Anyone
to
say
the
like
bathroom, guys.
Pound It.
Go to the bathroom. The bathroom real quick.
You guys had, it was it wine or champagne? It was one of the two.
I think
You
it was
guys had-
champagne.
You guys had so much there, and I just was like, oh yeah, I mean.
Oh man. Yeah, man, I have so much videos I have to show you guys. I have videos of you guys like running in the snow, like in the middle of a snowstorm. Like I have to circulate all this. I always remember the like homo say what, like, and then we were just like purposefully say like what, like all those things, man. I just remember all those kids. I remember the airsoft thing that you talked about, like we were trying to brand the 2-4 down, and I remember it being such a rush. Like you're like, should we go do it? And I remember like we saw how much pain you were. Like my brother was like, nah, this is a stupid idea. We should do it. We're like, nah, that's all right. Man, I think that's it. But like, I have the video of Rizzo rapping. Two more things, and I'll cut it short, man. Then I'm done.
You're good, man.
I remember you guys were talking about Josh Lee and White Chocolate, and they're fighting like. I was like, no, you hit me with this part though. You mean the padded part? Like, but I don't know if you guys ever remember, like, I always remember us, man. Whenever something happened to one of us, and on another day we have to talk about the Donovan and the Tim High story, like, oh man, and like all that stuff. But I remember, like, anytime anything happened, like when we came back from 300, like when we saw that video, we're like, Spartans! Like we're ready for battle for like 2-4 down up and to go after the people. But I remember when you guys said Josh Lee and White Chocolate, it triggered me about Sam. I think it was Samsung. Do you remember, like, I think we were in the hallway and I think Samsung was doing something silly, like going up to people and doing something. And there was a guy that lived across, I think Francis, across your room. And I think he went to Samsung and he smacked him because he's somebody that couldn't take a joke.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we were like all ready to pound on this dude. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Dude.
I do remember that actually because he told us and we were like, no.
Yeah, I think we were there. Some of us were even there. Like we were like, I think we all were like running after the dude. And like Samsung, man, that dude is a good guy, man. He was like, no, it's all right, man. It's okay. Like he was but like he didn't let us like, go after the dude. But I forget what that dude's name was, like Josh or I don't even know what it was. But I remember us being so hyped, man, ready to go after that dude. Like,
Dude, I'm getting, not to cut you off, man. I'm getting chills because I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
And the reaction of like how, like, don't mess like with one of our brothers and just that's how tight we were. Like, it didn't matter. Like, you do something to one of us and you've got a group of people to answer to.
Yeah, man. And I think that's what we always, so my outro song, man, so to cut it short, like my outro song was like, I always like strings and orchestra. Like I've always loved that. And I found like a remix of a 300 violin. It's called like 300 violin orchestra and a 300, like, and clips from 300. So like, I know Hat's going to play that, like, ending this podcast, but like you guys have to listen to it, man, because it gets me hyped like every time I listen to it, because I'm like, we were always ready for battle, like during the flag burning moments, during the heated moments of like softball games and football games and soccer games. You guys talked about the 2-4 down versus VFCC team and stuff like that, man. So like we were always like there for each other, man. He did something to someone else and we were just all ready to like, just go to battle for each other. But yeah, man, I don't know if you guys had anything else for me or anything, but
I mean, the only thing I guess I can touch on it really quickly, and this is just to go on top of your having each other's backs. Like I know you brought it up, just to give everybody like the quick version of the Tim Heist Donovan story, and we can go into detail later on in another podcast, but essentially a bunch of us went to play indoor soccer, and somehow I don't remember exactly who was on the teams, but there were teams set up, and it ended up Donovan and Tim Heist and what was it, Melissa? Was that his
Melissa,
girlfriend's name?
yeah. Mhm.
They were on one team for sure. And I know me, Junior, Francis, you were there for that too, right?
I think so. Yeah, I
think
don't have
Francis
a
was
fond
there.
memory, but yeah.
And like a few of us were on the other team. And you guys know me, like I like I was with Carlos. I'll just speak my mind. Like I don't care the ramifications. I'll just speak my mind. Well, Melissa, like I was just nonstop defense stopping Tim every single time, and he was getting pissed. And it came to a point where Melissa came up and was like, you're hacking my boyfriend,
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. And I didn't say anything to her. I looked at Tim and I said, next time you want to let your girlfriend fight your battles for you,
Yeah.
let me know that you can't do it yourself or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Just because I was like, I wanted to agitate. And so this was during a break, and the second half or whatever started. Literally, no joke, like wasn't even involved in the play as off the kickoff. Donovan comes and just trucks me because
Like true trucking, brother. Like
yeah,
that was
like
a hit, man.
I to this day one of my knees is still like messed up because of that day. But the coolest thing was like, here's Donovan, who's our ARA, who we're all like supposed to be close with, and everybody that was like on my team and even some of the people on the other team, all right in Donovan's face
gosh,
right
we
away,
have
like
that. Yeah.
how dare and so as Junior was saying, like with the Samsung, with you know any other story, if somebody like crosses one of us the wrong way, we are a brotherhood and we have each other's back. Not in a gang mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not
exactly.
going out looking to like
Yeah.
beat somebody up. But listen, if you mess with one of my brothers, you need to explain yourself to me and all the rest of us. And
Yeah, man.
man, like
I remember that, man. I remember my brother and I. We only went up to like Donovan's belly button, but we were we weren't up in his face, but we were all up in his belly button. No. But yeah, man, I definitely agree with that for sure.
I remember a quick one of something similar where I don't remember any of the logistics of the story at all. I just remember someone had beef with someone at the local McDonald's, and we like loaded up a few cars and just like trucked it to the McDonald's.
Dude, I remember this. It was Wolfie. It wasn't even like he didn't have beef with somebody at the McDonald's, I don't think. If I remember correctly, I think it was Wolfie, and we had heard like he got in a fight with somebody in the parking lot, and somehow it got back to us. And the next thing you know, there's like 18 cars showing up in this Kmart parking lot or whatever it was.
Yeah, bro.
We all whip out our skateboards. We're all like skating in the parking lot, just like trying to intimidate them. A bunch of 120-pound people.
Because it was like, I think it was like 3 or 4 like punk kids. I think it was a fast food, maybe Wendy's, McDonald's, whatever it was. And they were like saying a bunch of like stuff, trying to be like all cool to, I think it was Wolfie and maybe like 1 or 2 other people. And they were outnumbered. So they came back to campus and told us about it. And we're like, wait, what? All right, we're going to go outnumber these guys.
I remember that, bro. Like, we definitely got to get Wolfie to definitely talk more on that for sure.
Dude, from my recollection, I think it was to the point where, like, rather than drive carpool together, we were all like, no, let's make this look as intimidating as possible. Everybody who has a car, drive your own car.
Yeah, like I said, we never were trying to be tougher, and like, you know, we never walked around trying to be tough on campus and trying to be gangster, and you know, nothing like that. It's just like, man, it really triggered something in us because we were really brother. Like, I remember when something would happen to my brother, like I would want to be right there next to him, and like that's just all there was. We were family. We were protective of each other.
Well, that was the thing. The thing about 24 Down is we just didn't care. Like we were so concerned with like what we were doing and just having fun that like we just didn't care what people thought of us. So like it really didn't even ring a bell when people were like, "You guys are probably smoking and drinking," and we're just like, "How about let us just have our fun?" And you know. Yeah, but like that, we were close. So like when someone tried to like get in the middle of that, we were like, that's where we draw the line.
Yeah, man. I just thought there was 2 things real quick that popped in my head when you were talking about soccer and battling and fighting. So the first thing is, Francis, I remember us all going to, and yeah, you were definitely there when we went to your house to go paintballing. Like that was one of the funnest moments, man. Too that I always remember. I remember hanging out at your house. And I think that was the first time I met Mama Karen. Like,
Yeah.
and I also wanted to say, man, I want to take this opportunity too. Like in February, I think it was February, right? That I think your grandpa passed away, man. And
Yeah.
and I unfortunately wasn't able to make that, man. And I still to this day, like I still like kick was like, man, I wish I was there because I know you guys were there for me. They were my dads, and I know all of us, a lot of us probably wish we could have been there, but. Man, my condolences again to you and your family. I know your grandfather was close to you, man, and close to heart to you. I know he was somebody special, a war veteran. Like, so much respect for that man, and the way that you guys admired him and he admired you guys. And so, again, man, may he continue to rest in peace. May he continue to be remembered. Awesome gentleman. But I remember,
I really do.
I remember me and Mama Karen and paintballing. I have the picture. Again, I'll circulate that. All of us have paintballing. Like, I have the pictures of it, so I'll send it your way. And then lastly, I remember we talking about soccer. We used to go to the 422 complex, but we also used to go to the KOP. Remember that KOP center?
Yeah, that was with
we were all on the VEAG team. Remember that for the VEAG Bible study? And I still have my jersey. Like I still
have mine.
It doesn't fit on me, but I still have it. But I can't wear it. But it's like it's like. But like I remember like how much like every time any of us scored, man, we would get so hyped. And then I remember we were rooming that time. Like I think that we were still rooming together. And then like I remember I gave you an assist. And you scored, and we went like crazy, man. We were like, yeah, we're hyped. And I wanted to score so bad from an assist from you, like. And I remember you had like given me a pass, and it was like a beautiful like volley pass, and I hit that thing like Cristiano Ronaldo, like a professional soccer player, brother. And I was like, this is going in, and I'm like about to celebrate, and this goalie makes like a crazy, amazing save and like steals that glory from me, you know. And I don't think I ever scored that game, but I just remember the excitement of us wanting to score, and I remember Francis and Yugi, and there were a couple of people on that team, man, from all of us, because it was all 2-4 down people, and Jacob had some people from Antioch Church too, and I remember I think someone was fighting about too, but I think other things I remember is like.
I remember being quite terrible.
No,
really?
Well, yeah, our
Why,
team
because we lost all the time.
Our team, because we were in a really high league. But if I'm gonna say,
we got so excited when we scored.
if I'm gonna say something about our soccer team and our floor, and I wanna give a few things out. So like, if Buddha is the godfather of 24 Down, which I think we can all agree. And Francis and Katie, they're the power couple of 24 Down, because I think they're the only 24 Down couple that's still around. You know, Francis and Gene, like I was okay at soccer. You and your brother, Junior and Mike, you guys were pretty good at soccer. Francis and Gene were the superstars of soccer as far as our floor went. Hands down.
And I was cracking up when you were doing your podcast and asked, because I had asked you the question, like on a 2v2, what would you do? Like, how would you rate, like me and my brother? I did you and Heist, right? I think And then, like, who was it? Majeski and Mikey Edwards. Like, oh, I want to say something real quick. Majeski, I love you, brother. And I actually had no idea that he had a brother that had passed away. So, like, I know Majeski is someone that you can dish things out and he can take it. But like I think I was actually the one through that group chat that created that whole Mikey Edwards and Majeski brother thing, and the father, Don Myers being the father, and the Trinity. Like, and so like he said, like I remember him saying like I regret ever asking like it was Mikey Edwards, but like I know he can take it, but man, I had no idea that he had a brother that passed away, man. So again, my condolences, and I never knew that, but love you, Majeski. But what was I going to say? Shoot, what was I saying?
Francis and Gene,
soccer teams that you created for my podcast.
Oh, yeah. So we're talking about the 2v2, and I was cracking so much when Francis said, "Well, like I lose all the time in wrestling. I might as well lose it in the soccer tournament too, bro." He sounded so bitter. I was laughing so And then I was watching the 2-4-down YouTube videos. So again, if you guys want to see it, go on YouTube, 2-4-down without a space. And I was laughing so much. And you can see some of Francis wrestling. And I think I watched the videos. I'm like, Francis didn't win any of those matches. He's like, I lost the wrestling videos. I might as well lose the 2v2.
I just remember
he and his brother are the best.
I remember we went independent like interviews, and they were like, just say something about what you've done and what you're trying to accomplish. And in the interview, I was like, first thing I said was like, oh man, I haven't won a match yet, but it's like, that's the worst way to start it.
I think you won on your wedding though. Didn't we give you the belt on the wedding?
Yeah.
He's like, he's so bitter.
So when we do the reunion, we'll do a 24 down like reunion as well, a wrestling reunion as well, and we'll just let Francis win every match.
That was an honorable mention title. That was.
Bro, I was laughing so much during that time, man. But yeah, man, I know we're like already more than 2 hours long, so people are never gonna watch this episode because it's 2 hours long.
We'll watch it.
Go ahead and close us out then, if you want some final words.
Man.
Let me do one thing before you give us our final words, and I'm just going to give our little weekly plugs, and then I'm going to let you give the final word. So,
all right, man.
If you got Twitter and you want to follow us on Twitter, our handle is at 24down podcast. If you want to email us for any reason, 24downpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our Store Frontier page, storefrontier.com, 24down. You could get one of these sweet shirts if you're watching on the YouTube page. Here it is.
I got mine right here. Invincible ink.
Speaking of the YouTube, we have a YouTube page now. It's a little bit hard to find, probably because we don't have that many videos or views yet. But I did post it in the Facebook group for the podcast, 24 Down Podcast Facebook group, which reminds me to tell you guys about the Facebook groups. 24 Down Podcast has a Facebook group. You can like it, figure out everything that's going on. Then we also have a private group of 24 Down group that if you were in 24 Down, associated with 24 Down, get at anybody in 24 Down, and there's a chance they're in there. We want to get everybody in there. It's a place that we all just are able to communicate. So those are your avenues to get a hold of us. Francis, you got something?
Yeah, so this weekend, I think we might be coming out with an announcement for the 24 Down podcast, Andrew Kindler and I. So keep an eye out for that. It'll be, I think, in video form on one of the Facebook pages. So
cool. And with that, Junior, I will let you close this episode out, man. And before you close it out, let me just say, I love you, brother.
I love you too, man. I love you, Hat. I love you, Francis.
I love you, Juge.
I first wanted to say that I'm firstly offended that you guys have the cool backgrounds of 24 Down podcast and 24 Down floor, while I have like candles and flowers behind my seat. So, a little heads up would have been nice. I would have said at least a little blank wall or something. No, man. Listen, I love you, Hat, man. I love you, Francis. Both you guys, man. You guys know how deep of just friendship, of brotherhood that we have, man. And I cherish all the memories that I have with all you guys in 24 Down, no matter if it was 1 moment, 2 moments, 10 moments. And I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed all the past, man. Like you said, man, this podcast is really taking off, and I really appreciate you, man, putting this together, going with it, and Francis and all the other guys that are Buddha, that are Kindler, that are involved. Man, I look forward to that reunion for sure. Like when Colleen asked me that question, it's really because it really is what I desire, man. I can't wait for that. And it's what I envisioned, and it's what I can't wait for. And again, if you guys haven't been on the podcast, absolutely get on here, man. Get a slot, buy a t-shirt. I gotta buy a t-shirt too. I've just been so cheap, but I gotta buy a t-shirt, buy a hat, buy a onesie. But listen, the 24 Down, man, I don't even have words to explain how significant it is to me. And again, the most important thing that I take away from the brotherhood is all the times that you guys helped me get through life, man. Seriously, you guys helped me to continue with life. The whole reason I smile and the whole reason I'm laughing on this podcast is because of you guys. The brotherhood, the memories, I'll never forget them. And I'm looking forward to just continue to make a lot more memories together, man, in the future, and continue to stay connected. grow old together. Beer bellies. Everybody get your beard game up. I see Francis. You see mine growing. You see Hatch growing. Speaking of Pete, man, I'm so mad at Pete. Pete has a full-grown beard that's like over here, and I'm so mad because if you see, like my beard grows down here. Like my wife, I think, calls me like a Hasidic Jew. Like, but I can't like I can't grow anything on my cheek. And I was so upset when I saw like Majeski and Pete's. And they have this like full-grown hair. I'm so jealous. But anyway, besides the point, this is why you don't put me on podcasts because I give you brand new. But listen, man, I love you guys, and thank you for the support through my dad. And as much as I hate to say the word, but thank you for the support through the divorce. Thank you through the support even now. I went through a rough time just recently that I didn't mention, but you guys got me through it, and it came exactly at the time that we did the first Zoom, and it was like, man, I was like, man, God is so good, man. It just, and next time I'm on, I just definitely want to talk more about my faith. But let's definitely, all of us, man, make sure to keep your foundation strong in God. Make sure you pray if you haven't prayed. Make sure to read the Bible. Our foundation was our spiritual life, man, and Christianity. Well, not Christianity, that's what our relationship with God, man, is just as important as our relationship with each other. So definitely, I want to throw that out there. But thank you, Hat. Thank you, Francis. Thanks for my first time being on a podcast, man. But I love you guys, man. God bless you guys. Till next time.